After China passed a new Coast Guard law allowing it to shoot at vessels in territories claimed by the communist nation, the Philippines has threatened to order its navy to shoot back at any possible Chinese aggression. Philippines Foreign Affairs Minister Teodoro Locsin Jr. had vowed this week that any Chinese response would bring serious consequences, reported the ASEAN Post. So far there has been no incident. If there is an incident, I can assure you there will be more than just a protest, Locsin told local media, after issuing a formal diplomatic protest against what he called a verbal threat of war by Beijing. Initially, I said, you make a law, a domestic law, that's nobody's business. However, on reflection, you realize that this law can be applied to areas that they claim are theirs. They will fire if there's resistance. That to me is a threat of war, he added. Meanwhile, Japan is also bracing for an escalation of conflict around its islands in the East China Sea. Beijing's open fire law could shake the order based on international law, said Japan's defense ministry. Beijing's embassy in Manila has attempted to deflect criticism and concern, by saying that the law is not aimed at any one country and conforms to international conventions. Many countries have enacted similar legislation. The Philippine Coast Guard (PCG) law of 2009 established the PCG as an armed and uniformed service. None of these laws has been seen as a threat of war, an embassy statement reads. However, several Asian countries have disagreed with this argument. The ASEAN Post reported that U.S. President Joe Biden has reassured Japanese Prime Minister Yoshihide Suga that their mutual defense treaties include the Senkaku Islands' sovereignty. Biden has also reassured the mostly Beijing-friendly Philippine President Rodrigo Duterte that Washington supported its rights to much of the Scarborough Shoal and the South China Sea and reaffirmed Washington's commitment to Manila under their Mutual Defense Treaty (MDT). Meanwhile, Defense Secretary Delfin Lorenzana ordered his Navy this week to not participate in naval drills with the U.S. and other Asian nations in the South China Sea. Firstly, it's not to antagonize China because China is watching us here and a lot of things could be done to us by the Chinese government if they are antagonized. I told Secretary Austin, we don't want anything, miscalculations or accidents, happening in the South China Sea because we are right smack in the center of it happens, he said. China has been increasing its maritime activities in both the South China Sea and the East China Sea over the past few months, partly in response to Beijing's concerns over the increasing U.S. military presence in the region because of escalating Sino-U.S. tensions. Beijing's rising assertiveness against counter-claimants in the East and South Sea has resulted in unprecedented agreement across the Indo-Pacific. Tokyo had lodged a protest against Beijing through multiple diplomatic channels earlier this month after Chinese Coast Guard ships intruded into Japan's territorial waters near the Senkakus, called Diaoyu in China, for the first time since the new law took effect. According to the Japan Coast Guard, 2 Chinese Coast Guard ships intruded into Japanese waters near the uninhabited islands around 4:45 a.m. Following the intrusion, the Japanese government set up a special team at the Prime Minister's office to analyze the situation, the officials said as reported by Kyodo News. Chinese reports accuse the U.S. of muscle flexing after an American amphibious ready group quietly deployed to the South China Sea earlier this week. USS Makin Island (LHD-8) and USS Somerset (LPD-25) entered the South China Sea on Sunday, according to Chinese state press reports, a Beijing-backed think tank that monitors U.S. military movements in the South China Sea, and publicly available satellite imagery. The move, not announced by the U.S. Navy, was decried in the Chinese press as a bluff and muscle-flexing action that pundits believe would damage regional stability, according to a Monday report in the state-controlled Global Times. In response to the American ARG operating in the region, a trio of Chinese warships conducted an unscripted, live-fire drill in the South China Sea, Chinese-language state media reported on Monday, according to Newsweek. The People's Liberation Army Navy corvettes were operating off the southern coast of China and conducted the drills the day after the amphibious warships transited into the South China Sea past the Philippines. Navy officials told USNI News the Chinese corvettes were hundreds of miles away from the two American ships and that the Chinese operations were likely not in reaction to the U.S. ships. An official also said the two amphibious warships had not encountered any unsafe or unprofessional behavior from Chinese ships in the South China Sea. The ARG entered the region at the same time as Acting Defense Secretary Chris Miller was on a regional tour that includes Indonesia, the Philippines, and Hawaii, according to press reports. Makin Island, Somerset, and USS San Diego, LPD-22, departed the West Coast in October to complete final certification exercises ahead of a deployment with the 15th Marine Expeditionary Unit embarked. While the Makin Island ARG and 15th MEU completed their certifications in mid-November and have since continued west towards the South China Sea, the Navy has yet to officially confirm that the units are deployed for national tasking.